Hello guys, this is part 2 lesson the ancient Greece. So concentrate with me please. Our lesson today, the first point in our lesson, Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great. Who is Alexander the Great? Alexander the Great is a great leader in the ancient Greece. And the ancient Greece governed most of Europe and Western Asia under the rule of Alexander the Great. So, Alexander the Great is or was a great leader in the ancient Greece, and he governed or he controlled most of Europe and Western Asia under his rule. So, Alexander the Great is famous leader, great leader in ancient Greece, and he controlled most of Europe and Western Asia under his rule. Okay? Alexander used his military experience to control other areas. Alexander the Great used his military experience. Military experience means his armed forces to control other areas. And control other areas means to take other countries, to put his authority on other countries. Okay, so Alexander used his military means armed forces, and he used his military experience or his armed forces to control other areas or to take another areas around him or around the ancient Greece. And he expanded the Greek Empire, a group, and by winning many wars. He expanded means he extended. Okay, he enlarged the Greek Empire. And the word empire means a group of countries under a single authority. Empire, the word empire means a group of countries under a single authority or under a single leader, under a single king. This is the empire, the meaning of empire. So he extended the Greek Empire, or he expanded the Greek Empire, or he enlarged the Greek Empire by winning many wars, by using the war to take the other places and or other countries. Okay, this is Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great controlled one of the largest empires that ever developed. Alexander the Great controlled one of the largest empires that ever developed. And he had a great deal of power, but he also had to control thousands of soldiers far from Greece. It means that he put his power and took another soldiers far from Greece. So Alexander the Great had a great power, but he needed another soldiers, and he took another soldiers far from Greece. Okay, this is the meaning of this sentence. So he had a great deal of power, but he also had to control thousands of soldiers, a lot of soldiers, thousands of soldiers far from Greece, to control other countries, to take another places, and to put his power on these countries. So he had a lot of soldiers, but he had to control thousands of soldiers far from Greece. Okay, this is Alexander the Great. The second point in our lesson: what were the famous buildings in the ancient Greece? What about the famous buildings? And we said before in part 1 that there are a lot of cities in Greece, in the ancient Greece, and the most famous cities in Greece are Athens and Sparta. But there are other famous cities in Greece. Number 1, agora. Agora. Agora is the center of activity in each city. Agora is the center of activity. So if I ask you, which city was the center of activity? You can tell me, Agora. Agora is or was the center of activity in each city. Agora is the center of activity in each city. Number 2, Acropolis. 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 Say it together, Acropolis. Acropolis was the highest point in large cities. The highest point that was used to defend the city. So, which city was the highest point in the ancient Greece? It was Acropolis. Acropolis. Acropolis was the highest point in large cities, and it was used to defend excuse me, to defend the city. It was used to defend the city. Number 3, temples. Temples. Temples is the place for worshipping gods. Temple was the place for worshipping gods. Okay, temples. Temples was the place for worshipping gods. Okay, the place for worshipping gods. Number 4, theater. Theater was the place for plays during festivals. We know that theater is a place today consisting of what? Consisting of a stage and sitting in which an audience gathers to watch plays. So theater is the place to watch what? To watch plays. Okay, so there are 4 famous cities in Greece. Number 1, Agora. Agora. 2, Acropolis. Acropolis. 3, temples. Temples. And 4, theater. Theater. Okay. The last point in our lesson, how did the ancient Greeks contribute to our life today? How did the ancient Greeks contribute to our life today? Ancient Greece was the birthplace of Olympic Games. Number 1, the ancient Greece was the birthplace of the Olympic Games. It means that the ancient Greece was the founder of the Olympic Games. Ancient Greece was the founder of the Olympic Games. So number 1, ancient Greece was the birthplace of the Olympic Games. Number 2, the Greek thinker Hippocrates. Hippocrates, medical doctors. Hippocrates were medical doctors. Hippocrates. Say it together. Hippocrates. Hippocrates, medical doctors. Hippocrates. Hippocrates. The doctors were called Hippocrates in that age or in that area. Okay, Hippocrates. And the thinker Hippocrates, the doctors did experiments to show what? To show that disease came from germs, and the germs mean microbes. Disease came from germs rather than punishment of the gods. So Hippocrates did experiments to show what? To show that disease came from germs or microbes, not from punishment of the gods. Okay, it was a Greek who developed the idea of latitude and longitude. The Greek people developed the idea of latitude and longitude, and they made maps using these maps to define the location, to know the location. Okay, so it was a Greek who developed what? Developed the idea of latitude and longitude. The Greek people developed the idea of latitude and longitude. Okay, and made maps. The Greek made maps using these important location lines. Using these important location lines. Okay, so who developed the idea of longitude and latitude? The Greek. Ancient Greece began the idea of democracy and citizenship. Ancient Greece also began the idea of what? Of democracy and citizenship. This is the last point in our lesson. Thank you guys and goodbye.